Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the historic Max Factor building, which holds the Hollywood Museum. It's on Highland Avenue in Hollywood. Our guests are chef Kurt Ehrlich and actor Anil Kumar. German-born Kurt Ehrlich had a passion for cooking, which drove him to study at chef school, where he honed his skills. He went to France and he went to Italy, learned more about cooking, and he did very well because when he came to the United States, he started racking up awards for his craft. Kurt worked at the Waldorf Astoria, Tavern on the Green, Disney, and the Disney Spa, was it, or hotel?
Disney Hotel in
Orlando. And he's earned several restaurant awards, and you've done catering, and you've owned your own hotels in San Diego and La Jolla. So tell us a little bit about life in Germany before you got to
well,
U.S.
life in Germany was not that much fun, I'll tell you. You know, I love America much better. I came here with no English and $7 and only my chef diploma. That's all I had. And then, I got a few jobs in New York. And then one day I got enough guts to apply at Tavern on the Green. So
which was great.
It was the #1 grossing restaurant in the country at the time when I was there.
Yeah.
You know? So I walk in, and the guy said, "So what makes you qualified to work here?" I said, "Because I'm German." So anyway, they hired me. So I guess they felt sorry for me, probably.
So how long did you stay there?
About 2 years.
Oh, you did. So was that the beginning of your journey from Germany?
It was really, because Tavern on the Green was such a high-profile place. I was so lucky and blessed to work there. It was really unbelievable.
The Germans aren't really known for being great foodies. I don't think. We don't think so. So I think that a lot of your training in France and Italy must have kicked in.
It did, but many hotels all over the world, they have German chefs. You might not like the German food, which is not popular.
Right.
But the Germans, they have a lot of discipline, education on how to run a hotel and high-profile restaurants. So
it's the discipline.
It's a discipline, yes.
And it's something that you're just brought up with, really.
It's
just part of your...
When I went to chef school, I remember I was 16 and a half years old. I was late 5 minutes one time, and they took my salary for 1 month.
So they teach you.
Think about that discipline.
Yeah, so how does a young chef get started? How would you get started in, you did?
Well, you go to school. I went 3.5 years, roughly, and then, you apply for jobs. You take your chances.
And you just have to start at the bottom, I guess, no matter what.
Now, here in this country, they have the chef schools, and they go for about a year.
Oh, and if you come out of the chef school, then where can you place yourself? Do you think?
No place.
Oh, no way.
Because it's very, very tough to get hired at a hotel with 1 year culinary school, because it's not enough. You might get a job as a cook, as a line cook, but not going to get a job as a chef.
You talked about going to a hotel. Do you think it's a good place to start at a hotel rather than a restaurant?
I think it is, because in most cases the chefs are qualified, more qualified. Restaurants traditionally, they're not run, in many cases, I would say, not very professional. And an intern is not going to learn that much.
When you're working with a hotel, say, compared to a restaurant downtown, like your Bourbon downtown, what would the differences be? You don't serve as many dinners at one place as you would at the
Well,
other?
you have to know, when I was at Disney, GM came to me one day and said, listen, we have 6 weeks. Diana Ross is coming in. We have sit-down dinner for 2,000 people. Okay?
That's a lot of dinner.
So 2,000 people, and you have to come with a food cost of 28%. So you have to know what you're talking about. You have to really understand what you're doing and how many people you need, how much food to buy.
I was going to say, how do you know how much food to buy? How do you figure it out?
That's where education comes in. That's where training comes in, and that's what the difference is between a small restaurant chef and somebody has a lot of training.
So when you say work at a hotel, that gives you all that training, and then it's easier to open your own restaurant like you did.
Yeah, and also the hotels. I mean, if you work in Las Vegas, for instance, or New York, whatever, the qualifications are totally different. I mean, it's a background check, and you have to go through a testing program, and it's not that simple.
What about when you opened your own restaurant? How did you have the guts to do that?
Well, actually, what happened to me in my case, I opened my first restaurant in San Diego, and I was working at a place, and I wasn't very happy. And one day I said, you know what? I don't need these people. Let me open my own place. And that was under Jimmy Carter when he was president, and money was impossible to get to. So I had some private help, and I opened up my first place.
And then what did you serve? Was it Valley House?
No, but this was Kurt's at the winery.
Oh, Kurt's Winery.
And what happened, I had an office for the catering company at the Bernardo Winery. And one day I went to work, and they were building something. And I said to the winery owner, what are you guys building? He said, a restaurant. I said, okay. I didn't think about it.
You just said, okay?
Okay, but I didn't know it was for me.
So it was Kurt's?
Yeah, that was Kurt's, yeah.
It was Kurt's.
So they were building a restaurant for me. I didn't know it.
And you've always been associated with catering, I guess.
Is
that part of your...
Because catering actually gets you out of the kitchen. It's more fun, well, sometimes.
Depending on who you're working for?
Right, it's more fun. You get to meet people you normally never have a chance to meet.
And let's talk about that, because you did get to meet presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Was it through the catering business?
Yes. I started, I worked for a family in San Diego. They own Pepsi-Cola, the Leisure Brothers, and I worked for them for about 2 years on and off. And then when Reagan ran for president, I did his work, and then somehow they felt sorry for me again, and I got to work for Ronald Reagan.
So you did work for the president?
Yes.
And
on and off. But I was at the California White House for 8 months.
Oh, because it was down south.
Yeah.
I forgot. So that's where you were, down south. Yeah. And you have bourbon, executive chef, and you have the presidential seal. And since you serve presidents, you get to wear that on your whites?
Yes, yeah.
And how many presidents did you serve?
Nixon, Ford, and Reagan.
Oh, because Nixon was down there too.
Yeah, when I was with him doing from 73 to early 74 at, La Casa Pacifica in San Capistrano.
So did you go up to the house? Did you go up to the...
I was there, yeah.
And what did you cook for Nixon?
President Nixon was a very simple eater. He was a Quaker, so it was very, very simple. He was very congenial. Meatloaf and a little chicken breast once in a while, cottage cheese and fruit salad. I mean, he was a very, very simple eater.
Compared to Reagan?
Reagan was a little more complicated, yeah.
And did Nancy tell you what he wanted to eat?
No, never.
She didn't tell you what he wanted to eat?
I never talked to her, and I had no desire to talk to her, but, I never spoke to her ever.
And then, and you also cooked for President Ford.
President Ford, during the transition.
Oh, right.
You remember, President Nixon had a little problem. He was a little confused for a while. So
a little and then President Ford had to come in.
President Ford came in and served him. And
did he eat the same thing?
No, he was veal, meat, fish. He was basically everything.
You've cooked a lot of segments for CBS, NBC, ABC, and they're quick. When you get on to cook, you have to do something like a quick...
You can blame Roger Neal for that, because he always gets me on these TV shows, and he, gives me a big headache and have to do everything fast.
And then what does he tell you to cook?
Do it fast.
Do it fast.
Do it fast, yeah.
And you do everything right there on the station,
yes,
or you
sometimes.
prepare before?
Well, we prepared ahead of time, like when I did 2 years ago, the favorite food of all the presidents I served.
Oh, yeah.
And President Obama was there, and I did the chicken tacos, with it's his favorite food. Go figure. I used Rick
You know
Bayless.
how to make chicken tacos?
No, but I used a recipe from Rick Bayless, which he's a famous
right.
chef in Chicago.
Red-O?
Yeah, that's a restaurant that he goes to. So
Right. Oh, so
used this
that's
recipe.
why he liked it, because Bayless was from Chicago.
Yeah, and Bayless is really good. I mean, really good chef. He knows what he's doing. So.
So when you do these TV things, you have to have everything really ready,
Yeah.
because you have, what, 2 or 3 minutes to cook a
Yeah,
whole
about
meal?
you have about 3 minutes. So.
Well, we do have something that you brought today. You have a bakery, right?
Right.
Is part of the
It's
catering?
part of the catering restaurant.
And let
right.
me hold this here so Gary can see it. Which way should I do it? This way. Tell us a little bit about it.
So over here you have a cream puff with Bavarian cream and marzipan. On the bottom is marzipan, which is very popular in Germany.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
I mean, Germans love marzipan. And this one here is a hazelnut cream. It's the chocolate
this-
cream with hazelnut cream and apricots. And
And then show
then
us
over
this
here we
one.
have an apple strudel with
Oh, good. You can show it to
here
him.
you go, with almond glaze and chocolate dipped
Oh,
strawberries.
wow.
And this one is round, obviously. We normally make it in different shapes.
Oh, that's divine. What is made? What is it?
Well, what you're tasting is the almond glaze. That's really, it's
And is
made
marzipan almond?
It's made from a marzipan base, and again, it's very popular in Germany,
It's very
Germans love
delicious.
marzipan, yeah.
Very delicious. And the glaze?
Yes. And this one here is a German Bavarian
Oh, here,
beef
you
stew.
hold it, because I think
It's a
he can
beef
get you on
stew.
the camera there.
And it has a lot of fresh celery, carrots, and potatoes.
Beef stew.
Yes.
So how did you start it?
This is chuck roast, and we cook it for about 3 hours. First we cook it at a very high temperature, and after a while we let it simmer for about 3 hours to get the flavor.
So it's like falling apart,
right.
too.
This is very tender. I think Gary ate 2 plates already. He's still
I
alive.
know, our cameraman
But
is
he's still-
sleeping,
yeah, he's still-
actually.
yeah, he fell asleep.
He
I
took a
don't know.
nap after he
So-
ate this. I didn't even get to taste it. What's in the sauce?
Red wine.
No, you can taste that.
Yeah, that's what you're tasting. Yeah.
And what else is in here?
Celery, some fresh garlic, salt, pepper, and seasoning salt, just a touch.
Carrots?
Carrots, fresh carrots, potatoes. So,
Well, I think you really did it.
So here we go.
Do we get to eat it?
I'm going to heat it up for you.
Oh, you're
after the show, yeah.
okay. Kurt, tell us a little bit about bourbon before we leave.
Bourbon-
Downtown LA.
Bourbon, I've been in fine dining so many years, and now I'm downtown. It's a little more fun. We have comedy show, we have live entertainment, we have a great Sunday brunch. It's very casual dining, and I hope you guys come down and visit us.
Can we get this stew there?
If you call me. then
Otherwise-
otherwise you're out of luck. Yeah.
Out of luck. What
Yeah.
else do you serve there?
Pasta, pizza, steaks. It's a pretty good menu, a pretty big variety of food.
Do you have a lot of people working with you?
In
your
the
kitchen?
In the kitchen we have about 15, and then outside about 20, I think.
Oh,
roughly
wow.
20, yeah.
So it's a big space.
We seat about 200 people, not 2,000.
It's still 2,000. You're through with
No,
2,000,
I'm
aren't
done
you?
with that, yeah.
And we're glad you came to see us.
Thank you.
you,
Thank you
Kurt.
very much. I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Kurt
Thank you.
Ehrlich. And thanks for watching this part of our show. We'll be right back with actor Anil Kumar. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum in the historic Max Factor building. Actor Anil Kumar was born in Minneapolis, raised in Kent, Ohio, and earned a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Kent State University, and then a Master of Fine Arts in the Actor Training Program at Rutgers. He's been on the stage across the U.S. He's been a regular lead and a guesting person actor on a variety of TV shows and in a long list of films. So Anil is an author and an activist. And talk about your new play.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, the title of the play is called Rise and Shine, or I Thought I Was White. And it's basically, we had
I thought I was white because I was from Ohio.
Because I was from Ohio. The original title that we had for it was, or that I had written for it, is Rise and Shine, a semi-autobiographical cautionary tale of how I achieved spiritual enlightenment despite my self-hatred, or...
Despite my self-hatred?
Despite my self-hatred, or I Thought I Was White.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Or I thought I was white. We just cut out that whole thing.
We'll just, yes.
Okay, so we cut out this whole thing. Is that where the psychology major came in?
That was a psychology major, or maybe just a wordy writer trying to tell a joke.
But really, why were you a psychology major?
Well, I think, as I talk about in the play,
Really?
that,
You do?
Every good little Indian boy is either a doctor, or a doctor. And it was not something that I really kind of gravitated towards. And I've always felt like, the helping professions would be something that I'm interested in. I mean, it's part of the reason why I love doing theater so much, because I do believe that it can be transformative. It can be transformative both for the audience as well as the actor.
So
And
there's a healthiness to it.
there's a healthiness, there's a community involved in it, and I think that, so in that impulse came from my desire to want to help people and to maybe inspire them, make them feel better or whatever. So I think that's why I started out in psychology, but it was...
Rather than med school?
Med school is just, I'm just not that smart.
That's good to know, right?
Yeah, know thyself, right?
Yeah. And then how did you decide to go to Rutgers? And I didn't know that was an acting place.
Well,
school.
it is actually one of the top 10 programs in the country. I went there some time ago when Bill Esper was the head of the program there.
Oh, yes.
But they say there's the old adage of, you don't choose the theater chooses you.
Oh, did it choose you?
Well, it sort of did. I kind of, and on a whim, I was graduating from the psychology department in my senior year in college. And on a whim, I just sort of went out and auditioned because I love Shakespeare. Shakespeare's how I got my start.
You mean you just went? Because you're a classically trained actor, I know.
Yes.
So we're not minimizing that. But we started. It sounded like we were. But you are classically trained.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I have a 3-year master's program. With my MFA
Was it 3
and everything.
years?
3 years. Yeah, 3 of the most difficult years of my life.
I bet.
But it was some of the best training, that I could get anywhere. And it was so it was like just kind of on a whim after my Shakespeare class, I went. To this audition, I thought, if there's ever any kind of acting I would ever want to try, it would be Shakespeare. So I went in, and this is actually a little section from the play. I went in and auditioned for this woman.
We're doing this play.
We're going to do the whole play for you right now.
Right. So you went from college to audition?
What happened was after that audition then, I was constantly, and this is really thematically for the play, I was constantly being asked, where am I from? Where am I from?
Right,
where am I from?
Right.
And I came to realize I didn't really know. I didn't really understand it in a visceral sort of way.
Well, wasn't your family ethnic oriented?
Oh, yeah.
Were they actors?
No. My parents, I like to call them academiacs.
That's
because they're so my father has 2 PhDs, my mother has her master's. They're very they're
So they
thinkers.
weren't actors at all.
No, not at all. There's creativity in my family. My mom's sisters are musicians, so it's not completely foreign. But the fact that
But still, who am I? So you didn't have that immigrant feeling?
Well, I did, but growing up where I did, which is in Kent, Ohio, it was a very culturally homogenous area, and outside of the home, it was sort of like the only thing I knew about India was inside my home. And that was very Indian, very traditional.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, the foods, we spoke Hindi and everything.
Oh, you did? Really?
Well, I've sort of forgotten how now.
But that's how you were raised?
Absolutely, very traditionally. But then as soon as I'd walk out the door, I was in this big, great white world that was completely disparate with, what I was,
Was there an Indian community in Kent?
No.
No,
there was no. There were no Indian
Really?
kids in Kent. Yeah, I didn't even really, see an African American kid until I was in junior high.
That's what we would think. I mean, that's what you think of in the Middle West, right?
Yeah.
Wherever you were in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you brought that all into your play.
Yeah, it's really, because the play is about, it's about how I like to say is that it's for anyone who's ever felt like they're the other, that they're, whether you're black or white or gay or transgendered or whatever. Armenian, yes, or whether you're Armenian, anybody who's ever just tried to fit in and felt like they're the other. And my experience has been that, like, whenever we've done readings of the play and developed the play, no matter where people are from and they come up to me, they go, "You're telling my story, bro."
That was my family.
Yeah, that was my family, and
exactly.
whatever, it would be an Armenian or
yeah,
whatever.
because immigrants all live the same kind of life, but they don't think so. I mean, it's different, but it's the same.
Yeah, it's amazing how the same it is. How so we're
feelings.
We're the same in our differentness,
right?
If that makes any sense.
Exactly, it's true.
Yeah,
it's really true. So. You have no accent, but you were speaking it in the house.
I can do it, darling. This is what we do. This is a lot of the play is about me and my relationship with my parents. Well, most of it.
And who do you talk? Do you talk your parents' voice?
I do. But I do my parents. That is sort of my father. Sort of sounds like this, and then my mother. She sounds like this.
Of course she does.
So yeah.
Have they seen it?
Oh no, they're coming to see it. They're going to see it for the very first time opening night.
Okay, let's talk about 2.5 years in The Allergist's Wife. 2.5 years. What did you do? That was such a great play.
Well, I'm taking that. I'm guessing that you saw it.
I did see it.
Let me tell you, that was one.
I saw it on Broadway.
You saw it, so yeah. Then you probably saw me.
Yay!
Yeah, that was
because
me.
I knew the name.
Right.
Because I'm really good about reading the playbill
and
digesting it.
Yeah.
So how could you do it for 2.5 years?
Well, I'll tell you what. I really, it was fresh and new every single night. Now, there were some, there is certainly some repetition, but I was working with some of the most incredible theater professionals in the world.
They changed the lead probably in 2.5
Yeah, but it started with Linda Lavin,
right,
who is a grande dame of the American theater.
I saw Linda Lavin.
Yeah, and she really, like, watching her work, I would come out just to watch her ending monologue at the end of the first scene. I don't know if you remember, where she's just screaming at her mother. She's bawling, and
she's really crying.
She's really crying. Oh, she's really crying, and the audience is in hysterics. And what a great sort of lesson for a young actor to come out and it's like, you need to be truthful. And let the humor come where it may, but you just be truthful. Now, she has a gift for comedy. I mean,
yes, I was going to say, she's crying, and it's honest, but they're laughing at her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's well.
But is it the writing? It's the writing.
It's the writing, and Charles Busch, you're not familiar with Charles Busch,
yes,
but he is
course.
Just, he is absolutely a genius. And, I mean, it's written as a comedy, but, that the lesson being that, in order for it to be funny, you have to be truthful.
You have to be truthful,
and then after that, then Valerie Harper took over. For
so you just went with all these divas.
I did. I went with all and also Michelle Lee. Speaking of divas,
Michelle too.
She was in the program. She's played the counterpart to Valerie and Linda.
Yes,
and then
right.
I also shared the stage with Tony Roberts, and it was really
How'd you get the role?
Well, it's funny
because you were Indian.
Well, they wanted somebody who was I guess who was Iraqi. But what they said was that, I had actually didn't even have an agent at the time. I was with an agency that closed, and then I had done readings for Manhattan Theater Club in Lynn Meadow over the years.
Great, yeah.
And they found me and called me. And so I was like, of course I'll come in. And I came into the audition, and I did everything that this stupid actor does. I was late. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, it's my one opportunity, and
you were late?
I'm totally screwing it up. And I ran into I knew the casting directors and everything, David Caparelli-Otis, and I ran. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. and he's like, don't worry, we're running late, it's fine. And then I saw, and I was freaking out. And I told my friend, I was freaking out. I'm like walking around, pacing around, and then I look up and I see the face of Cheryl Bernheim, who played the mother. And she was 85 years old at the time, 85. And she'd just come out of the audition room. And I looked down at her.
Oh, she was auditioning?
She was auditioning. And she looked at me, and I looked at her. And she looked at me, she goes, oh, hello there. And every bit of tension, any bit of...
Just like that?
Just went away. And I was able to do my work because I saw this woman who's 80 years old. I'm going to be 80 years old doing the same darn thing.
And you say hello to the person who's late and running around.
And calming them down. It was just a very, it was a beautiful moment where I was just kind of like,
and it's something you've always remembered.
Absolutely.
Because that was not, it was long ago.
Yeah,
in the career-wise.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about is your books. Your sister-in-law actually does the drawings for them. What kind of books do you write?
Well, they're children's books, and they're all and it's funny because I don't have children, but I have a lot of children in my life. I have nieces and nephews, and who are very important to me.
From doctors' kids?
From doctors, of course. Of course.
No, I'm just kidding. But probably yes.
But yes, but no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But I just, when something inspires me, and I wrote one book about when my mother-in-law's dog died, who I had a really, really, very personal relationship with, Mac. And when Mac died, I mean, he and I were buddies. He would literally.
So that's your one book?
That's one of my books, and then there's another book that I had originally written many, many years ago, but it's about a little boy who loses his dog.
Oh, so but Mac, the dog who died, was your sister-in-law's mother's dog. Yeah. So
she was that dog was she loved it, and so how we got my sister-in-law and I got together was she went to art school. She now is a business owner. She runs restaurants and stuff like that. But she's an incredible artist. And I was when we were getting to know each other, she showed me her book, and I'm like, oh my God, I really love this. So can I, would you be interested in maybe illustrating or something like that?
Oh, fabulous.
So we just started collaborating, and now we've got 3. They all seem to be about dogs for some reason.
I know, I was just saying, just all of a sudden. But the other thing of dogs and children, let's go to children, your ballroom project. Because the Blue Ribbon at the Music Center, we sponsor kids to come in and they do a dance on the Music Center area. But you go into the schools.
Yeah. Well, the organization is called Ballroom Madness.
I know,
and
it's funny.
It's really wonderful. And if you've ever been in a room of 500 screaming 10-year-olds, if that brings you joy, then you will love this thing. Because what they do is they give these students, lessons in ballroom dance, and my friend Daniel Panickley, he's the head of the program. He's the main teacher.
You go into the city schools.
We go into the city schools, and Daniel and his group of teachers comes in and they teach the kids, and then they have a big competition once a year, and it's just madness and fun, and the kids just love it, and it's really rewarding to be a part of that program.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much for coming in with your stories today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here.
And I hope when you wake up you find out you're white.